From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Hello there, good morning and welcome to VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Well, today is the 27th day of November 2024 and it happens to be the last Wednesday in the month of November. I am Ojukwu Okoro. Please, thanks for joining us. Now, on the show today, we've got a lot to talk about. And the first one is that the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has accused the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, of fabricating reports of decline in unemployment rate in Nigeria and GDP growth. Quite interesting. NBS yesterday said that the economy grew by 3.46% in quarter 3 of 2024, an increase from the 3.19% in quarter 2. But NLC has come out to say no, the figures are concocted to deceive Nigerians. Now, who do we believe? Do we believe the NLC or do we believe the NBS? Stay with us on this show and you'll find out as we have our analysts who will help us to unveil if there are any contradictions between what NLC has said and what NBS is saying. Vina?
Good morning, Chukuma. It's quite interesting, you started off by talking about how NLC accuses NBS of fabricating figures, and that also brings me to what happened last week where NNPCL come up with this report on how they've been able to produce 1.8 million liters of crude oil, barrels per day, and NEPRC come up to say, no, that was not what happened. It's only 1.5, and they don't even see how the 2 million projection for December is going to happen.
Meanwhile, sorry, Fina, before you move on,
all right?
Are you aware that the news is there that the Port Harcourt refinery is on stream now, it's working?
And then there's another news again that come up with from another outlet, they say they have someone there in the house that say that, forget about the story you heard about how PMS is already coming out from that refinery. They said something about how it was just the old refinery that has just 60,000 capacity that they've put in place, but interesting thing there is, they said, they make mention of two things that is happening, and they also talk about how PMS is not what is coming out, but they can talk about the diesel being available. But and it's not just 1,000.
The important thing is that the refinery is on, now it's working, it's on stream.
I had a guest yesterday that I asked a question and I said, are you not happy about the way this government is helping bring the hope of Nigerians again, ashore over the fact that most of the things they say they will do? We're seeing the refinery after shifting the goalpost for so many months, for so many times. Now we have it working. And the person said, I hope that tomorrow Nigerian government won't tell us that the spanner, a particular spanner to turn on, the turbine is not working. Away from those stories, also on our radar this morning, we'll be looking at how Bianca Ojukwu, she's one of the cabinet members now, expressed confidence that Tinubu will release Nnamdi Kanu soon, as Eastern Nigerian Association President Chukwunaru warns that all peace advocates globally must demand release of Nnamdi Kanu by Tinubu's government. And quite interesting, it's also important for us to know that due to the absence of the judge that's supposed to preside over Nnamdi Kanu's case, he filed a 50 billion naira lawsuit against the federal government for how he was kidnapped. According to him, he said he was kidnapped from Kenya back to Nigeria without due process being followed. But the fact that an echo wasn't available told that. So the case was shifted to February 2025 for the hearing. These are more the stories we're looking at today, but also do well to be part of the conversation. Join us on our social media platforms. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Do well also to visit our website. We are www.vop.ng, and there you can get fresh and trending news stories.
Well, talking about other trending stories, we understand that President Bola Tinubu will embark on a 3-day state visit to France on Wednesday to meet French President Emmanuel Macron. The visit aims to strengthen bilateral ties in areas like agriculture, security, education, health, energy, and youth development. Tinubu and his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, will participate in various ceremonies and bilateral meetings, including a session with the France-Nigeria Business Council, focusing on trade and investment. The First Ladies will also discuss initiatives for empowering women and children. The visit will conclude with a state dinner hosted by Emmanuel Macron. Quite interesting, Fina. Our president came back from Brazil, very hardworking president. He came back from Brazil within the weekend, within the weekend, where he attended G20 summit, and on the sidelines made some deals on behalf of Nigeria, particularly the $2.5 billion deal that is going to help our livestock industry with JBSA of Brazil. That is not the only one. The other time he was in Brazil, we talked. No, was it there? No, he wasn't there. But there's been an arrangement between Nigeria and Brazil, about mechanizing agriculture. And in that deal, we were supposed to also attract like 995 million euro investment into the agri sector. All of this is what the president is doing. Now, he will be in Paris today to discuss bilateral relations and see between Nigeria and France how we can move this economy forward. Recall also that when the president went to Brazil, he said, look, we have problems of insecurity. We have problems here and there. We need people to collaborate with us to solve these problems. And I am asking, some people have said that the president was demarcating Nigeria, but I don't think so. It's like a man that has a problem. And they said that the problem discussed is already half solved. The president is discussing Nigeria's problems with Brazil, with India. Narendra Modi was here last 2 weeks. He's been to China. He's always going to France to talk business. The vice president was in Sweden the other day, and all of these packages, if you call them total package. Last time we were told that we have $30 billion foreign direct investment inflow into Nigeria. Fina, our president, isn't he hardworking?
It's interesting to also note that in the words of Bayo Ononuga, it was Emmanuel Macron of France that invited the president, for them to have this diplomatic relations discussions, to know how Nigerians will be moved forward. But now what I have a bit interested is the fact that the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu also is part of the person that were invited, and she made mention of how she's going to talk about youth and women, how to empower women and also the youth. Those will be part of what she will be discussing with the French First Lady if they have a position like that, And also, another interesting part of that says that both leaders, in the words of Ononuga, both leaders are to participate in political and diplomatic meetings, highlighting shared values on finance, solid minerals, trade, investment, and communications. Quite interesting. Maybe this time around we'll have FDI from French government. Don't you think so? Because this is more like, I think, the 4th or the 5th time the president is visiting France since his inauguration. If you check it closely. So,
Fina, it's an ongoing engagement, between the Nigerian government and the French people and other people in Europe. Like I said, the other day, the vice president was in Sweden, where he also discussed bilateral, meetings with the Swedish government.
Yeah.
The point of it is this. I keep asking this question. The way we are going, are we not in? Don't you think that we are in the right direction?
With your GDP increase and all that?
Yes, GDP increased from 3.19 to 3.46, despite the fact that the NLC is disputing that figure and all of that. But you begin to ask questions. The question is this. should we rely on foreigners to help develop our economy? At last count, I know that there is so much money here. There's so much mineral resources. Why is it that Nigerians that have taken our money, people in government, we hear about so much that has been stolen in this country? Why is it that these people are not investing those monies in Nigeria? How many, before China opened up, before India opened up, how many foreigners were going there to invest? I mean, you have to, they say that charity begins at home. Yeah. We understand that Nigerians even have blending plants in Malta. We understand that Nigerians have refineries in Brazil. Why is it that people that have made money in Nigeria, but anyway, hook or crook, that they cannot put that money, invest that money in Nigeria to grow that economy? Why must we rely on foreigners? Meanwhile, is the environment conducive for investment? The president was in Brazil. He told the international community, he told the whole world, look, there is insecurity, that farmers cannot even go to their farms.
And he then solicited for help. He asked for help after agreeing that, you know, and that was why I asked this question some time ago. I said, I was like, is it that the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is above what Nigerian government can handle? You know, it looks like it goes.
The president is saying, look, there's insecurity, and also there are like military, you know, security arrangements is making with other countries. Yeah. But how soon will these things come into play? We already have a projection that 133 million people will face acute hunger by June 2025.
Apart from the prediction, we also have people who can't even go back to their ancestral homes.
That is a way.
They're staying in IDP now because of insecurity. And we also know about how an individual in better state have decided to be collecting tax. I'm talking about, is he fireman or thereabouts? He has a funny name.
He's not the only person.
Collecting tax from people, from farmers, you know, and yet...
The 133 million people that will face acute hunger is away from the 133 million that are already multidimensionally poor. So when you put these figures together, you begin to ask, are there policy initiatives that are on ground to ensure, you know, that we don't face such scary futures like June 2025, that 133 million people? Someone said that it is not June 2025 that people are already facing hunger now.
Maybe the handouts that the government usually give out, you know. What do you think about that? Yeah, the palliatives, the handouts that sometimes you see government officials still, you know, try to make away with them. Sometimes you also see them come up to tell us one thing. Because I can remember when the present administration talked about how Nigerian civil servants can get a bag of rice at the cost of 40,000. And also there was a memo. The statement was made more like a week. But before the week the statement was made, there was a memo that was also in circulation, dated 2nd of the same month, that the withdrawal of the process should begin. You know, no one even, like some people were saying, where is the bag of rice? Were you able to buy yours for 40,000?
Fina, don't even go there. Do I have 40,000 naira to buy a bag of rice?
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, we just hope that the president will come back with a bag, a hamper full of goods, you know, from France.
Exactly.
Now, let's move on. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has suspended his media aide, Wale Adetumobi, over controversial comments on his social media, acknowledging the execution of NSAS protesters in 2022. Ademobi, in a now deleted post, claimed that arsonists who attacked TVC during the protest were hunted down and executed, sparking public outrage. Responding to criticism, Adetumobi defended his remarks, citing exchanges of gunfire with soldiers. Governor Sanwo-Olu's office distanced itself from the comments, reaffirming the administration's stance against extrajudicial killing. Now, the NSAS protests had seen widespread violence, including the tragic Lekki tollgate shooting and destruction of property, leading to mass casualties. Fina, this is quite revealing.
It's quite revealing, you know, but this is not the first time we're getting something like this out already in the public, you know. But
no, I say revealing.
It is
from an aide of the governor. You recall sometime April, May, June this year, a memo leaked that
I'm happy you're going there.
Money was released, millions of money was released, you know, to bury people.
Mass burial, you know.
Victims.
Yes, and it has endorsement, it has a seal of the state government, you know.
And just within a twinkle of 3-4 days, the whole thing was swept under the carpet.
Yeah.
And we have an aide of the governor coming to tell Nigerians, you know, that look, people were killed by soldiers.
They were hunted down.
They were hunted down. And he says that, look, in future we are going to have a true picture of what actually transpired. And within hours of that leak, the young man is suspended. Yeah. Now my worry is he also safe?
For him?
Yes, for squealing.
Him being safe is one thing. I know that, I think he is safe in one end, but that will also make you understand how the government have not really been on the side of the people. I'm sorry to say that this beautiful morning, because a whole lot of time when Nigerian youths come up to ask a question, who authorized the shooting at Lekki Tollgate, the government keep on denying, saying there was nothing like that. There was no shooting, there was no killing. But we know how the camera that was mounted at the tollgate was pulled out, and we also saw live cartridges, live bullets, there, and people were shot, and some people were not even back again in the country over the fact that they made videos of what transpired, of what happened that day, simply because Nigerian youths were talking about police brutality and how it's going to be ended. Now, let's see if Jamobi, if after he's been suspended, if he's going to be mute, or if he will continue talking about what transpired, because he promised that in the nearest future we'll get a clear vision of what really happened that particular day. I'm talking about 20th of October 2020. It was quite interesting one, like life of Nigerian youths. That day I could recall that I was somewhere, and then I got the information about what was happening in Lagos State and all that, and then I was like, what is really happening? I needed to chime in to talk about it. And then I was told, no, you don't take it that way. I said, no, I have to talk about it. The reason is that I am a proud Nigerian, and not just that, I am also a youth. So what happened to that mantra that says youth are the leaders of tomorrow? If people cannot come up open to accept that Nigerian youth on the 20th of October, who have been having the peaceful, protest, sitting at the tollgate and all that, to talk about how they are aggrieved about the police brutality for some days, were attacked on the 20th. Why wouldn't they come up to, just own it? Apologize if need be, and then go in for whatever thing, the actions that Nigeria used to call for. But let's see how this spiral.
Fina, this is a very touchy issue.
It is.
Very touchy, and it's very weighty, and it's also very scary. If Nigerians could be killed in cold blood and the whole thing is swept under the carpet and nobody is brought to book, nobody's career is damaged, Nigeria moves on. And as they always say, if any unpunished murder takes away something from the security of the living being. If someone has killed someone, another person, and the person is unpunished, the person goes scot-free. Yeah. It takes away something from the security of the next person, because he could as well kill that person. And that is how people become serial killers. So if we have this kind of issue in our hands, the intelligence community, the government should do well to ensure that the victims did not die in vain.
Interesting. And another one we have to talk about, that's another trending topic, is how the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, disclosed that about 200,000 terrorists in the Northeast have surrendered due to combined military and non-military strategies. He made mention of these at the Security and Justice Symposium that was held in Abuja. He also stressed the need for fairness, justice, and innovation to combat insurgency effectively. While the British High Commissioner Richard Montgomery highlighted the importance of upholding human rights and civil-military collaboration in addressing complex security challenges, 200,000 terrorists surrendered. Now, what got my attention on this one is the fact that we heard that in Borno State, to be precise, they've embarked on the seventh time reintegration of repentant Boko Haram members into the society, which a whole lot of people have come up to, say that, no, this is not really a good one. People have frowned at that, saying that it is more like making the people whose family members must have died in the hands of the Boko Haram insurgent group or terrorist group now to see the people that killed them being reintegrated. It was termed radicalization. That was what the government said they've done to them, and they were able to bring them back. These 200,000 people that Chief of Defense Staff talked about, they've surrendered. I hope we're not going to see them back into the society through the radicalization process.
Fina, it's all about the whole issue of justice that you talked about a few seconds ago. And one ex-user said, these 200,000 terrorists that have repented, which pastor did they confess their sins to?
That's another thing. And we know what they're championing is more like an ideology.
That was on a lighter mood, but it's quite serious.
It is very serious.
Because when we talk about de-radicalization, At what point do you now hold somebody who has killed a fellow citizen to account? The last time we talked about it on this show that certain repented terrorists also made away with guns belonging to Borno State government, motorcycles belonging to Borno State government. And the most unfortunate thing is that when some of these people say that they have repented, they are reintegrated into society. Unfortunately, they are also engaged into our security agencies, into the commanding heights of our national life, like the customs, like immigration, and all of that. And within some few months, like 1, 2, or 3, these people turn out to serve as moles for terrorists within the organizations. And you see that our soldiers have been ambushed in the line of duty.
Yeah.
Up to the point that the brigadier general was also ambushed in the line of duty. And we keep losing our men and officers to terrorists. Yet, we have military authorities coming out to tell us that, look, 200,000 terrorists in the Northeast have repented. They have surrendered, and they are being reintegrated into society. Now, you don't even talk about justice for the victims. People have been killed. What becomes of them? What becomes of their survivors, people that survived them? You know, these are issues that we keep talking about. And it does look as if these things are premeditated, predetermined by the authorities, because it also tells us that, look, we are far from winning the war against insurgency. The military tells us, look, we have pushed back the Lakurawas, and 3 days, 4 days, 5 days later, they come to tell us like, oh, these terrorists are spreading. So which one do we take? We need the intelligence community under the National Security Advisor to be very, very active in dishing out accurate information to Nigerians. If we don't have accurate information, I'm telling you, there is no way we can win the war against terror, unless there are things that Nigerians should not know, or unless there are things that we are not supposed to know. Oh well, quite a lot to talk about.
A whole lot to talk about, you know, when you say quite a whole lot. I'm still waiting for the present administration to swift into action to make sure that the terrorist financiers that the names were given, you know, published, made available to them, that they've also called them in to know what really happened or how they can exonerate themselves from that. You know, the word is kind of big, terrorist financiers, and they have their names, and yet we're yet to hear something. But let's say I don't want to wait, you know, water it down, but maybe the words of Nuhu Ribadu, NSA, you know, director, when he was saying that it's only God that can help us to fight the issue of insecurity, and God also should, you know, intervene in punishing those who are selling. He said something about military personnel selling arms to those people. But
oh well, let's just believe that God will intervene.
He will.
Now, quickly, without taking a break, let's get into some major newspaper headlines. We have the Tribune here. We have the Guardian. We have Independent and Punch. Let's start with the Tribune, with the major headline. Why Port Harcourt refineries revival? I beg your pardon. With Port Harcourt refineries revival, Tinubu set worry Kaduna plant target for NNPC. With the riders, Tinubu commends Buhari, Yari, African Export-Import Bank. NNPC begins truck-out operations of petrol, diesel, kerosene to Nigerian market. Oil marketers, industry experts laud NNPC over delivery of Port Harcourt refinery. That story is on page 3. You also have, on top of that, you have CBN raises interest rate to 25.50%. Revalue the Naira, not MPC rate increase. Expert. I'll take that again for emphasis. CBN raises interest rate to 25.50%. Revalue the Naira, not MPC rate increase, according to experts. That story is on page 12. We also have MBS report on 3.46% GDP growth, decline in unemployment, not true reflection of current realities. Nasema insists. FCTA's list of CFOs defaulters on pages 18 to 137 of the Tribune. And we also have the window headline. Obasanjo commissions rules in Osho, comments Adeleke. That story is on page 4. Nigeria loses $1.1 billion annually to malaria crisis. You can find that story on page 14. Yahya Bello, now in EFCC custody, may appear in court today. That story is on page 3 of the Tribune newspaper, and that's all from the Tribune.
On the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper this morning, the banner headline reads, "Elated Tinubu mandates NNPCL to revive Warri Kaduna refineries." Right after that story, as Port Harcourt refinery begins truck out of products. Operations will create jobs, boost production's availability. That is from Pandef. Calls for licensing of artisanal refineries. And above the nameplate, other headlines there are: new interest rate to hurt savings. New interest rate to hurt savings account holders. Analysts. CBN raises interest rate for 6th time in 2024. Now 27.5%. From 27.25% now to 27.50%. All right, FG laments loss of $1.1 billion annually to malaria. Other headlines on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper are: Senate considers Tinubu's request to confirm Oluyede as Chief of Army Staff. The story proper is on page 7 of the Daily Independent. Minister says livestock sector could contribute 33 trillion naira to economy. Reps uphold Senate's decision on sack of CCT Cha Umar. Tinubu heads to France today. Felicitates Ojukwu Abubakar on 78th birthday. Names 3 CCB board members. Another bold headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper. It reads: experts raise the alarm over growing national debt. Says nation's public debt surged over 900% from 2015 to 2024. And the last but not the least of the headlines on the cover page of the Daily Independent is: Mba presents 971 billion naira 2025 budget to Enugu Assembly. And those are the headlines you see in the Daily Independent newspaper this morning. Okay, now let's quickly run through the Guardian newspaper. Cautious optimism over cheaper fuel as Port Harcourt refinery creates rivalry. That's the major headline, and the story is on page 6. We have Mba ramps up IGR from 37.4 billion to 144.7 billion. Presents 971 billion 2025 budget to Enugu Assembly. Oh, well, I think that's good news for the people of Enugu. Now, EFCC, Bellows men differ as anti-graft agency detains ex-governor. We have a Port Harcourt refinery timeline, 2015, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and all of that, more like an infographic. Now, Edu urges states to monetize assets to drive investment revenue. Now, that's the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu. Edu urges states to monetize assets to drive investment revenue. Tinubu departs Abuja on state visit to France. Amid soaring food prices, Aida to work back Tinubu's economic policies. Some people want me to die, says Obasanjo. Former President Obasanjo says, some people want me to die. Oh, well, we'll find out who those people are. Private sector grows as CBN raises interest rate to 27.5%. I think there's a discrepancy with that figure. The other newspaper said 25.050. This one says 27.5%. Oh, well, we'll be able to know which one is correct. Banks lose 54.4 billion to fraud in 9 months as attacks rise by 65%. A quick one? Yeah, go ahead. That's all from the Guardian newspaper. A quick one on the Punch newspaper this morning. The banner headline reads: alleged 110 billion naira fraud. Bailo due in court today as ex-governor reports to EFCC. Ex-Kogi governor detained by anti-graft agency faces 16 counts. And beside the nameplate, the headline there is interest rate hike. Labour OPS projects higher inflation, weaker naira. The story proper is on page 19 of the Punch newspaper. PDP NEC pro-Wike governors set for showdown over Damagun. The story is on page 2. Forex platform CBN says $100,000 minimum trade for banks. And then we have a major pictorial from the Port Harcourt refinery, where 200 truckloads daily is what we are looking at. Over 150,000 barrels per day production, LMA plant dormant. 4,449 policemen sue IG over delayed promotion. Hunted and executed, suspended Sowolu aide, comments stairs probe call. And the last but not the least headline that made it to the Punch newspaper this morning is unpaid pensions, retirees said to occupy finance ministry. And those are the headlines that made it to the cover page of the Punch newspaper. And that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines. We'll be back at 9 o'clock with a more expansive review
more detailed review of newspaper headlines. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about NLC accuses MBS of fabricating reports of decline in unemployment rate in Nigeria. Please stay with us, don't go away.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Tuesday from 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Now, Dr. Charles Obinna Chukwunaru, president of the Eastern Nigeria Development Association, ENDA, has accused President Bola Tinubu of keeping IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu detained as part of an alleged political agreement with northern politicians. Again, this is a very weighty one. Chukwunaru warned that this decision risks pushing Nigeria closer to violent state collapse, citing historical grievances and growing divisions among ethnic groups. Meanwhile, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu has urged Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu, arguing that his freedom will help expose criminals exploiting his detention and restore peace in southeast Nigeria. We are joined in the studio by Barrister Darlington Agomore. He's a lawyer and a political analyst. We also have Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. By the way, Barrister Darlington is also VOP in-house analyst. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
We also have John Akerele join us virtually. John, okay, we expect John Akerele, a Nigerian that lives in diaspora, to join us in the course of the show. Now, Barrister Darlington,
Yes.
let me confess to you. Look at what Dr. Charles Obinna Ojukwu has said. He accused President of keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention because of an alleged agreement he has with northern politicians. What's your reaction?
It is not a news. It is not a news because if you remember, when Buhari was in office, he visited Owerri. And Igbo leaders met him and said, look, I think, was it Owerri or Ebonyi? It should be any of these two, either him or Ebonyi. They now
during the campaigns?
No.
Okay.
That was, no, just on, I think, yes.
All right.
They now brought up the issue of Nnamdi Kanu before him. He said that is a court decision, that whatever the court decide, he will abide by it. We now said, okay, no problem. Nobody talked about it again. Then eventually the court decided. The court decided, and the same Buhari sat on the matter. So it means that...
Sorry, Barrister,
yes.
What do you mean by the same Buhari sat on the matter?
Because when the court decided that Nnamdi should be let go, we all clamored and said, okay, Mr. President, that was Buhari then. We now said, look, the court have decided according to you. Why not fulfill the promise you made? He did not even answer anybody. Igbo leaders were visited him, group by group. They all went to Buhari. Yet, he was telling them, okay, we'll look at it. Don't worry, we are going to... Up to the time he left office, nothing was done.
But there was an accusation from IPOB spokesperson Imapafo saying that Igbo leaders, they didn't do enough. That Igbo leaders and politicians are also the reason Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention.
No,
saying that they did not throw their weight behind him, just the way the Westerners did for Sunday Igboho and Showore.
No, that one is afterthought. We are talking of reality here. When things like this happen, every manner of person will bring in their own opinion. But let us face facts. Let us face reality here. Let us follow the trend of events. Now, when the court decided, please, do you need any Igbo leader to tell Buhari to fulfill the promises made? Do you? Even at that, Igbo leaders visited him. In groups, number of them. In fact, Mbazulike, the first aviation minister during the First Republic, he said, please, let it be the last wish Buhari will give him before he will go and meet his ancestors. Yet, nobody answered.
So why did you think the president, refused granting those wishes or those
No,
things?
I am telling you so that you know the allegation is not something I should, it's not a news to me. So, Buhari did justice and left office. Listen very well, though. When he left office, Tinubu now came in. Tinubu came in, Immediately Tinubu came into office. Listen very well. There was a flurry of activities in the Republic of Benin. And pronto, Sunday Igboho was left off the hook. And he went to Germany to cool off with his wife. Immediately after that, Showore, another agitator, was let off. In fact, in the case of Showore, they say, nully prosecute. That means discharged and acquitted. The federal government did not even bother to prosecute him. They left them off the hook. Now, what happened to Nnamdi Kanu? If you follow this event, you will know that yes, something is actually, there is an agreement here. Because even when there were, the Attorney General said he does not even know who is Nnamdi Kanu. That one angered even myself. The lawyer Jimako now packaged all the cases in favor of Nnamdi Kanu, both within and outside Nigeria, and send it to 9 cases, 9 judgments in his favor. Up to today, Mr. Okoro, up to today, nobody have said anything about Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
We have been going about this in peacefully. Listen very well, because if people don't understand what is going on, they won't know how to approach it. Please, somebody should call and tell me, what else are we supposed to do that we have not done?
All right. Before we bring Dele Fanimo into this conversation, I want to ask you one question now. Why do you think that the North is interested in keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention? As alleged, because the allegation by Chukwunaru is that there's an agreement between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the North to keep Nnamdi in detention. Why would the North want Nnamdi to be detained indefinitely?
It's very obvious.
Okay.
Very, very obvious. When Buhari started this his agenda, Nnamdi Kanu was the first person that pointed it out from UK.
Which agenda are you
This
talking about?
Islamization and Fulanization agenda. Okay. It was Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
Nobody paid attention to what that young man was saying from UK radio. He was the first person that told Nigerians, had alerted Nigerians to what is coming. Nobody believed him until eventually Buhari now exposed himself. And you started seeing Nigerian states now providing their own security, from Amateku to Ebubago that never was in Imo State, and all the rest of them. It was under Buhari's word that you saw all these the terrorists, taking over the whole of Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu alerted us. Go and check. It was this revelation that angered Buhari because he took the rug off his feet. The thing he was about to do, or he has already almost completed, Nnamdi Kanu, that was why he started his ESN in the southeast, to protect the Igbos. So it was not easy, because the first port of call would have been in the southeast. That Buhari felt that we are too stubborn, that he's going to deal with us another. Nnamdi Kanu took it. He took a preemptive step to protect the Igbos in the southeast. So this angered Buhari, because they were not easy to penetrate as they planned. That was why they put him in Kula, and they use Ozadema. Ask yourself, what is that thing that is so special in Imo State that place has become a theater of war? What is Nnamdi Kanu is not from Imo State? That will tell you that it was a plan.
All right,
Nnamdi Kanu was aware of all this. The only thing that angered Buhari is that how did he find out what he was trying to do? Okay,
let's bring in Mr. Fanimo into this conversation. Mr. Dele Fanimo, in the words of Obinna Chukwunar, he also said something about how all peace advocates globally must demand the release of Nnamdi Kanu by this administration. And we also heard that Amnesty International will chime in and talk about, his unlawful rendition from Kenya to Nigeria, and a whole lot of other international bodies are talking about his release. What do you really have to say? Do you think that this call by Dr. Charles Obinna will make any headway?
Well, thank you very much. You see, for me, I think I've said it for the opting time here, that the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu does nobody any good in this country. And unfortunately, his continued detention and even up his profile within and outside the country.
Exactly. They are celebrating him.
You understand? And so, if I were to be in government today, my honest advice is that Nnamdi Kanu should be released. So, if government had released him before now, perhaps it may not have really doused tension the way we expect, because the agitation will still be there, because the issue of marginalization has not been addressed. But then it won't give more fillip to the belligerent attitude of Simon Ekpa in this process. So for me, it's even late in coming for Kanu to be released. And I think off camera, I've had cause to discuss with one or two people that something tells me, it's just my hunch, that very soon Kanu will be released.
But yesterday he's supposed to, he filed a lawsuit, demanding 50 billion naira from federal government of Nigeria, how he was kidnapped from Kenya back to Nigeria and all without following the due process. But that particular case supposed to, to have begun. But there was no judge to that hearing. Now, do you still think he will be released in the same time?
You see,
Binti Yako was not there. They said he went on another appointment.
If government is committed to Nnamdi Kanu's release, from all indications, it doesn't need court process anymore. And going by the fact that there are some cases that have been decided in his favor for his release, so he may not necessarily have to go through the court processes before he's released. And thank God, at a point I was saying it, that the appointment of Bianca would also add Philip to this trident call. And you can see that for her to come up in the open to say he should be released, I'm sure she's intelligent and suave enough that she would have had talks privately.
Okay.
We have 50 lawmakers who have also talked about 50 lawmakers now that cut across the whole nation, the west, the north, and the south to say release Nnamdi Kanu. But yet the government is yet to do that.
What I'm telling you is that some people, maybe because of her background and having played in the diplomatic circle over time, she's not somebody that would come to the open and begin to talk anyhow. She must have done certain things before coming up with this.
I'm happy you raised her background.
And I can tell you here categorically that the release of Nnamdi Kanu is imminent.
You made mention of Bianca Ojukwu.
And I told you earlier that the denunciation of Simon and his followers over most things he had been doing in the Southeast had also raised the bar for IPOP. And I tell you, with all these things that are playing out, I can tell you, you will come back to tell me that I said it.
Now, before that time, before I'll come back to tell you about how you projected it will be released. Now, you make mention of Bianca Ojukwu's background. We know the role the husband played, in agitation and talking about people of Biafra being a nation on their own. We also know what happened, how there was a war, and how some parties were kind of aggrieved up until today. Now, when you juxtapose what happened that led to the civil war in Nigeria and the ideology that Nigerians are still, or Southeasterners are still marginalized with what we're still seeing happening at this point in time, do you think that Bianca Ojukwu's word in any way can, pull through to make Nnamdi Kanu to be released? Do you still share that line of thought?
I strongly share the fact that the voice of Bianca would have some measure of influence in all of this. And you'll see it playing out.
All right. I'd like us to walk back a bit. Dr. Charles Chukwunaro has
to leave the studio.
No, walk back a bit.
Since we're walking back.
Now, I mean in the conversation. Now, the point is this. If you put together, even Finn, I made allusions to it, if you put together everything that has happened since the end of the Civil War, some people have also alleged that Nigerian politics has become more like a continuation of the Civil War. Yeah. First of all, do you even agree with Charles Chukwunaro that Nnamdi Kanu is being detained because there's an agreement between the current president and the North, Because of the fact that, look, over time, like I said, since after the Civil War, there's been this cry for marginalization, and the thing became very prominent, quite prominent, during the Buhari regime. When the South, it was more like exclusively excluded from the commanding heights of Nigeria's national life. Do you think that there is more like a state policy from everything you have seen? Even in the current administration, you don't have people from the Southeast. The last Igbo person that served at the highest level is Alex Ekweme as vice president, and that's over 40 years ago. Since then, you have not had a president. The presidency has been in the South for 3 times. It's been to the West 2 times. South once. Southeast none. Southeast has 5 states as against 6 of others. Even Northwest has 7 states. If you put all these things together, do you think that there is a state policy clearly fashioned against the Southeast?
You see, there are 2 questions you have just asked.
Okay.
If there was any agreement between the North and the presidency...
No, I cannot ask you if there was. Do you think there is?
Well, I can tell you, I am not part of this government, and I'm not a Northerner. Forgetting that, don't mind my cap. It's not enough for you to profile me as a Northerner. Okay. But
you're a Nigerian.
But I'm a Nigerian.
Good.
You see, to tell you the truth, it may be real and it may be a conspiracy theory. But the question I ask myself is, what is in Nnamdi Kanu, and to what end is the detention of Kanu to the northern elite or whoever is in the north? Is it to punish him as an individual? Is it to punish him for the sake of being the man at the forefront of this agitation? Or to use him as a way of cowing the agitators? That I cannot really see. For me, I think this particular position taken by this doctor, I don't want to see it as real. We should take our eyes away from it so that we don't begin to do conspiracy theory that cannot be proven. But the important thing, there are three things that should be addressed, and until we begin to address some of these things, we may not get to a point where we can sit around the table and begin to discuss on how we want to shape this country so that it will be an egalitarian country that has equity embedded in whatever is happening in the country.
Okay.
Now, even the South...
Okay, you want to talk about the second question now?
Yes.
Okay.
Up till now, Middle Belt has also been assailed by some of these problems. But unfortunately for the Middle Belt, they don't have a rallying point. They are not homogeneous. So it's difficult for them to come together. They have been assailed by this oligarch in the north. You know, they have been denigrated. For instance, the commanding height of the military usually reside around the Middle Belt. The major proportion of soldiers in the country, pre and post Civil War, are always from this part of the country. But since the Dinka coup, you can see how they have decimated the ranks of the Middle Belt in the military. Today, they went there, they took up their arms, they seized their arms, and they exposed them to the vagaries of these marauding headsmen, or terrorists who masquerade as headsmen. So they also have their own problem. The Southwest, in spite of the fact that we have somebody who is representing us in the presidency, we know the limitation of his powers. And today, an average Yoruba man feels that we should have our own way. Because we have resources, yet these resources are being plundered for those who don't have anything to show
so
for our unity.
So do you not still think that the North is kind of playing the higher bid in all this that is happening, just like Dr. Charles Obinna-Chukwunaro?
So what I'm trying to say is that, well, if there is any agenda from the North, it's not going to target only the Southeast.
Personally, let me ask you this question personally, Mr. Fanimo. Is it that Nigeria is having an Igbo problem? Do you think Nigeria is having an Igbo problem up until now? Because if Igbo problem, that was a word by Showore that says that Nigeria is having an Igbo problem. The fact that everyone is kind of being scared of the Igbos, the fact that they can make a big thing out of nothing. And he made mention of a secret memo that is kind of making it possible for someone from the Southeast to become the #1 citizen in Nigeria. Do you also share that line of thought?
If anybody is saying that there is a script or document somewhere that will not make an Igbo person a president of this country, I don't want to believe it. And I'll tell you why. You see, certain things had happened in the past in this country, that Nigeria is a country of possibilities. Those days when we were watching 90 Minutes at Tebe and all that, we never knew that somebody could come up in Nigeria that would be worse than Idi Amin. And here we had Abacha that was worse than Idi Amin. Now, if anybody is saying it's just his own conjecture, a Southeasterner is a Nigerian, except on and up until when there is a creation of Biafra state. A Yoruba man is part of Nigeria until the creation of Oodua Republic. So, to that extent, everybody in this country that claims to be Nigerian and is validated to be a Nigerian has that right to be a president in Nigeria. What is left is how we can build consensus and pull down all these cleavages and ensure that we come in unison. Tomorrow, and unfortunately, when these politicians want to ride roughshod on us. They play all these cards, and we are like the soccer. We just suck it, and then we play along with them. At the end of the day, we don't achieve anything. We don't achieve anything out of it. For me, it is the right of anybody in Nigeria to aspire to be president of Nigeria. How he wants to get there is now determined by that person.
All right, okay. Barrister Darlington, let me bring it to you now. You are from the southeastern part of this country, and then you know what the agitation from the people of the southeast happens to be. Do you think that this word of Odinaka, Bianca, or Ojukwu in any way will help to Nnamdi Kanu's release? Do you think that the statement she's making, she's, in terms or in worked with the president to make sure that Mr. Nnamdi Kanu has been released from detention? Do you think that can actually happen?
Why not? Because I'm beginning to think that for her to have accepted that appointment may be part of the agenda. That is what I feel.
The agenda to release Nnamdi?
Yes.
Okay.
For her to have accepted that appointment is part of all the opposition against it. And then she cannot be there, and maybe after 4 years or whatever of Tinubu's administration, and then she will come out and start telling us stories. Now, hold on.
She's not the only Igbo person there.
Yes, hold on, Mr. Okoro. Why is it that every other person, both Igbo people and non-Igbo people, why is it that everybody is using Nnamdi Kanu's matter to shine? Does it, I told you here that Sunday Igbo has been released. So what has been released? What is keeping Nnamdi Kanu? Don't look at it yourself. Does it make any sense to anybody?
So who is shining with Nnamdi Kanu?
Those people who are telling us he'll be released today, he'll be released tomorrow. Rochas Okorocha said his own the other day.
No, Rochas was begging.
No, but he said it now. He said it.
He said that.
He said that Nnamdi Kanu should be released in honor of Emeka, what's it called? The man that died. Why is it everybody? Why? Tell me, why? What is the reason?
Isn't that a way for the southeastern politicians to chime in their own opinion and their voice and making sure
they
that
have said what they need to say. They have said it by that.
But some Igbos are saying that they've not said enough. That just like the way the southwestern has thrown their back on the behind Iboho and Showore, that granted that would have led to their release. That is what the Igbos are doing.
Who went to plead with Tinubu before Showore was released? We don't woke up one day and the Attorney General said that he had entered the nolly prosecute.
So you think there was but you think there was no undertone?
I said, tell me now, if somebody from the Southwest went to plead with Tinubu to release those their sons. Hold on, no. The real terrorists in the north. When did you hear Northern leader going to plead with Buhari before he was pampering them, massaging their ego and all that? Did you not hear what their own brother Sheikh Gumi said that whenever he goes into the bush to go and see them, that the federal government used to give him backup? I'm talking of terrorists who have killed and men, who have taken territories. How do you add this in together? And you are still telling me that all this noise about Nnamdi Kanu is justified?
But Barrister Darlington, when there was crisis in the Niger Delta, the federal government granted them amnesty. You have talked about Sunday Igboho and Showore being released. The leader of Miyetti Allah has been released.
Good.
Bandits.
But I think it was Buhari that released.
No,
was Sunday Igboho.
No, Nigerian state. We're talking about the Nigerian state. Miyetti Allah leader was released. Bodija was let go. Nigerian government is negotiating. Okay, state governments are negotiating with bandits and terrorists.
Exactly.
We have heard,
especially in the north.
In the north, we have heard people say, "Your people are killing my people."
Exactly.
And all of that. But in all of this, nobody has ever called the IPOB or the Igbo leaders on the table to say, what is the problem in the southeast? Does Nigeria have an Igbo problem?
That is it. In fact, you have even summarized the matter.
And what is the problem?
The problem is that the North doesn't like the Igbos.
For what reason?
For the reason of what happened in 1966, which was never our problem. Go and check history. They just don't want the Igbo because we stopped them for what we wanted to do. You two will not know exactly what happened. Why Ojukwu did what he did. The North from that time, they have been dreaming and planning that they will take over Nigeria. You say, listen very well.
So if they are planning to take over Nigeria, it's clearly not an Igbo problem.
Because we stopped them now with the war. The war was a stopgap for what they are trying to do. Remember that when Agui was killed, the second in command was the Brigadier Ogundigbe, a Yoruba man. Ojukwu now said, okay, no problem, but let the second in command take over so that he can listen to somebody. He can never listen to a junior who happened to be Gowon. That was the issue here. Ojukwu said he will never obey his junior in the military. For what? Okay, allow Ogundigbe to say, they said no, they put Gowon there. And that was it. That was the real problem. Every other thing is secondary. Because I believe that if Ogundigbe had taken over, because Ojukwu said that unless I know what happened to Agui or Ogundigbe take over, I will not listen to anybody.
Yes. Let me ask you something. Why is it difficult for Nigeria to move on? The Igbo man that was at the receiving end, the victim of the civil war, has already moved on. The Igbo man has demonstrated more faith than any other person in the unity of Nigeria. There is no part of of Nigeria that you cannot find an Igbo man. That is one. Now, the point of it is that why is it difficult for the Southeast and the Southwest to cooperate and become one block, including the South-South?
It is the same.
You mentioned the Agui Fajui. Francis Fajui, Adekunle Fajui, gave his life
because of him.
So why is it difficult for the Southwest and the Southeast to cooperate?
Before the Civil War, go and check your history. The Igbo man was the leading light. In fact, the Southeast was the most progressive economy in the whole of Africa. It's on record. Ojukwu's father was the first billionaire in the whole of Africa. The first.
Reno Mokri has faulted that.
Who was it? Who?
Reno.
Who did he say was it? Who?
He said it wasn't Ojukwu. He mentioned like 2 or 3 people.
Who now? Who? From where?
From the West.
You should have mentioned names now and let those people come and invalidate it. But we are telling you facts. Okay. That was where you have the Nnewi building at the port there.
Okay. Go
and check record. You know, they always have a way of twisting history. But that's not the relevant issue here. Because of the progress of the Igbos or the Southeasterners, the North became envious. They became very, very envious of the Igbos. That was the first thing. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, they were looking for a way. You know, when your success brings us envy, they were looking for a way to cut down the sources of the Igbo man in Nigeria. And that war conspiracy, the 1962 presented a stepping stone for them to carry out what they wanted to do. That was why, when the coup happened, over 260 Igbo military officers were wiped out in 3 days of ugly killing. 260. So we are killed on the road. So we are killed in the marketplace. So we are killed in the office. So we are killed in their bedroom. Anywhere they see them, they were cutting them down. 260. What was that for? Envy, jealousy. Why would they be? But they occupied that position meritoriously because Ojukwu was the first military to go to our military with a master's degree from Oxford. Okay. Abi? There was no other person.
Now, but
I want to give you the background where this envy started. Now, they're not on their own. They didn't have any. And they were not commanding any particular position because of what? Qualification and merit. Because it has to be with competence. And that was why Nigeria was moving forward at that time. Go and check. The Igbo did not abuse that position. They were using it to better the lot of Nigeria. The first VC of Unilag here was Ojukwu, an Igbo man. That of UI, Premier University, was Kenneth Idike, an Igbo man. Please, did they merit this position or not? They merited it. They merited it. But because of envy and jealousy, they feel that the Igbo man is moving too fast.
Okay,
let us stop them.
Darlington, the average Nigerian who understands history understands all of this.
So
the question
that
is, why is it? There's been a conscious incursion, you know, from the north down south through the activities of marauders, headsmen, and all of that. And the question I'm asking you is, politically, why is it difficult for the south? I'm talking about the southeast, southwest, and south-south to unify and speak with one voice.
It is not possible because of
why?
Hold on, because the Yoruba have their own culture.
Okay.
The Igbo have their own culture. And the South have their own culture. And the North is playing along these cultural divisions. But if you go to the North, they are almost homogeneous. The Fulani Hausa people, they speak the same language. The culture is the same thing. That was the difference here. And then whenever they want to do something here, they will look for either a Yoruba man or an Igbo man to divide them, so that they will never agree.
But in North and if you get to the North, Barrister Darlington, they don't really speak the same language. They don't speak the same language because we have the different people with their own tongue.
They may have, but the common thing here is Hausa language.
Just the same thing we have the common language in the East to be Igbo.
But here, South. No, hold on. You are talking of the whole South here. I am saying the whole North.
Now, is it the fault of the North?
Hausa.
Is it the fault of the North that they can come together and form one umbrella, the Hausa-speaking northern part of Nigeria? Is it their fault that in the South here that it's difficult for them to do the same? Because if you check how the geopolitical zones we have in Nigeria happens to be, we have the Northeast, we have the Southeast, we have the North Central, we have every other, the Southeast and South and Southwest. But now, why is it that the North can come together to, form this? The question here is that
how many of these people in the North are actually Nigerians? How many of them? If you count it properly, the real people in Nigeria, the real Nigerian people that you can count as Northerners, they are not up to 50%. The rest are people that came from all these other neighboring places, including those that they invited the terrorists to come and they took over Nigeria.
Is that why they are more united than us?
Of course, now that is it. I told you here that the war is all about religion and tribe. That's what is fueling this insecurity.
Okay.
Yes, they want to bring them. Is that one a false story?
All right.
Are you not aware of what happened? Okay. So these people now, if they stay in Nigeria now for a long time now, they become Nigerians. Now, they settle down here. They take over houses.
We have other borders. We have Nigerians and we have Nigeria bordering other nations also. For example, in Cross River State, we share a common boundary with Cameroonians. So are you not saying that when Cameroonians get into Cross River and Akwa Ibom, that they will now get acclimatized to their custom and speak their language, and that makes them to be them?
What are they coming to do? Hold on. If they are coming to do business, they will always go back. But these people from the North, they are come to settle. Remember that even during our election, they used to go and bring people from Niger.
Okay.
Somebody told you that his cousins are in Niger.
Mr.
That if we disturb him, he will go over there.
You have a different.
So this affinity, this tribal and the ethnic affinity is what is fueling insecurity in the North.
All right, thank you, Barrister Darlington. Let's hear from Mr. Fanning.
There are two things I want to dispel here.
Okay.
One, that the South as a whole, comprising the Southeast, South-South, and Southwest, that they cannot come together.
It's not
possible.
Okay.
It's not.
It is possible to come together.
Okay.
Then the other one I want to dispel is the fact that North is homogeneous. North is not homogeneous. In fact, North is almost more divided than the South today. And I'll give Politically? Yes.
But let me add to this. Every time you hear 19 northern state governors having a meeting, when have you had the southern people having their own meeting?
They have been having.
They have not.
They have been.
They have not. They are not.
Maybe once in a while.
They have never had.
Maybe once.
They cannot even have.
Now, let's go to the
because listen very well, with Tinubu now, the North is now his favorite. So whatever you are saying here now, he's not listening.
What are the possibilities of a southern coalition?
Good. It will start with a regional configuration. If we are able to push through this regional agenda, which is starting with the commission, the various commissions, Southeast Development Commission, Southwest Development Commission, South-South Development Commission. Let's start from there.
No, but do we have to wait? Let me
tell you.
Even before, made allusion to 19 state governors meeting.
I've attended 17 southern state governors meeting before. And you are a journalist. Yes, you are aware that has happened.
When was the last time?
The last time they had it, I can't really recall. Okay, but I know that there was a time this existed.
Okay, now
you understand?
It existed. Why is it? Why are there not holding meetings
now? I may not be able to explain why.
Because that speaks to the division.
Exactly. Please, Mr. Okoro, with this insecurity, that would have been the time the South would have come the North too. We have had enough of your insecurity and your belligerent attitude. We don't want it again.
Sorry,
the South should have called the North. Since this thing is coming from your region and you don't want to tell me, we are tired.
All right, thank you.
That's the time they should have taken action.
It's okay. Let's hear from Dele. Go ahead.
Now, before the various commissions, before the advent of this administration, there was a Southwest development. I can't remember the actual name.
Down,
yes. That was
development agenda for Western Nigeria.
Yes. Dawn was specifically raised for regional integration in the Southwest. Initially, Lagos didn't want to be part of it.
Again, you know the reason. Even Amateku, Lagos is not part of it.
Lagos was not part of it.
Good. What was that?
You know,
what was that
initially, what usually happens is that these politicians, they have a way of rejigging policies to favor themselves. Lagos State, because they see Lagos State as the cash cow of the Southwest, and those people in Lagos felt that they can stand on their own without coming together with the Southwest. And the first thing, the Benga Daniel, Agagu, that generation of governors came together, and up until that time, Lagos was not part of Odua Investment Company.
Isn't that division on its own speaking?
No.
Okay.
You know, Lagos has always been a federal colony before it was moved to Abuja.
So are we still seeing that play
now,
out?
I can tell you today, Lagos State is now with Odua Investment. Now, Lagos State has come with Dawn. In fact, before the advent of these various commissions, regional commissions, Odua Investment Company had been at the forefront, and Odua Investment is the vehicle that Southwest wanted to use.
What about other southern states, Mr. Fanny?
Now, you see, what you do is, I feel that there should be a kind of confederacy, you understand, in the South, such that each region will leverage on its strengths and then coalesce together.
But I hope you don't understand, Mr. Fanny.
Don't want it.
We seem to be losing track of this.
The North don't want it. That's what we are saying.
Is, what are the possibilities in the present of the South having an understanding that, look, holistically, that, look, some things are not right in this country. Look at what headsmen are doing in all parts
everywhere.
of the country. Look at the way we are dealing with insecurity in all parts of the country. And the thing is gradually moving down south. What do we do as a people to wage this? There's a conspiracy theory. There's an agenda that is on the table. Are these facts true? Do we have things that point to the fact that, look, this is what is happening? And how do we wage these things? Why is it difficult? And what are the possibilities of the South coming together to say, no, these things are not right? That's what we want to do.
The first impediment to this happening is most politicians in the South, they talk about self. They drive self above general. Okay. You understand? The moment, this is why the Northerners, they have an edge over the Southerners. An average Northerner would look at the overaching interest of the people. I mean, I'm not saying people of the northern elite.
Okay.
But when we want to push an agenda, how will it favor me better than the other person? What is coming to my table is what we drive. I've had cause to attend Arewa meeting when I was working in the north. And I discovered that, do you know that at that meeting, if they take a decision, they will never tell anybody outside of that meeting. When they finish that decision, which is favorable to them, they will now get somebody and put words into his mouth to release to the public, which is not what they agreed at that meeting. But in the South here, before you even go for recess, somebody is tweeting.
So with all this you just pointed out now, Mr. Fanimo, now, do you still think that the South can come together?
Of our own problem.
Do you still think that the South can still come together to have a single and common goal and agenda?
If we have leaders that are thinking of your generation, the generations to come, and the mutual distrust that has existed, and they are ready to take all these things out. Why should a Yoruba man be afraid of an Igbo man? Why would an Igbo man be afraid of a Yoruba man? Why would the South, because he has oil embedded in his communities, why should he feel superior to somebody who does not have oil in his community? But if we aggregate this strength and come together, honestly, they can't match us.
All right. All right. But Barrister Darlington,
yes.
quick one, because we are pressed for time now. Do you think that the release of Nnamdi Kanu will douse the tension in the Southeast, the insecurity in the Southeast? Is it going to go away like that, even Nnamdi is released from detention?
100%. It will stop the insecurity. Because most people are now using Nnamdi Kanu for all manner of things. So let this young man come out. And let me see that person who will now use him for whatever.
But we just said after Simon Ekpa's arrest, Barrister Darlington, a woman come up, Ngozi or Abueze, come up to say that the sit at home must continue, even when with the arrest of Simon Ekpa.
Look, don't mind what people, anybody can say anything. Let Nnamdi Kanu come out first. Let us see whether she meant what she's saying or not. Is it not Igbos? I know them very well. Mr. Okoro, what happened in Imo State with the election of Hope Uzodinma? Was it the real election or was it an aberration? Who brought in Hope Uzodinma and what was the reason? I am saying it here that they are using Satanas against themselves. You see, our brothers in the Southwest here, they only talk when it affected them. But when it is the Igbos or in the Southeast, they will not talk. Because I remember when Nnamdi Kanu was agitating, the Lagos Ibadan were writing all manner of things against him. That was even what gave Buhari the impetus to go and pick him up. Are you getting what I'm saying? Until something happened, that was when they now changed. And I discussed it on this platform. I said, oh, so you people cannot talk, Abi, because something has been affected now. I said it here.
Barrister Darlington,
it has been that trajectory since independence.
Do you think that if Nnamdi Kanu is released and the underlying issues of marginalization are not addressed, do you think the agitation will go away?
Let us start from the beginning. Let us first thing first.
What is the first thing now?
To release Nnamdi Kanu, let there be peace first. Then we can now talk as one. But with what is going on now, do you think somebody that go put on
Are you within the insecurity in the Southeast around Nnamdi Kanu?
Of course. What else?
What of the unknown gunmen?
Let him come out first.
What of the unknown
let
gunmen?
him come out first. All of them they will disappear overnight. I am telling you, with the followership of Nnamdi Kanu, in fact, some people will go and point out these people in their villages.
But Barrister Darlington,
point out yet now they will expose themselves. They will surrender to Nnamdi Kanu. Then that time, listen very well.
How can somebody be an unknown government operating within a community?
That's what I'm telling you.
These people do they just brand them like they are known.
They will disappear. They are known. They will disappear.
But Nnamdi Kanu gave a directive the other time saying no more sit-at-home order. Barrister Darlington, when he said that, Simon Ekpa said the sit-at-home order continues, and he also claimed so many times to be the one enforcing it, and it has been happening, even with people dying.
Now, leave all those.
Why are we going to leave it? We shouldn't leave it because
let Nnamdi Kanu come out first. Let him come out first. That's what we are saying. You are looking for a solution here. The solution is the reason Nnamdi Kanu. They're not this other talk, society talk and whatever. They will die down naturally. Okay, because all of them cannot have the temerity to come out and operate.
Let's have your final thought.
They can never operate again. Within Nnamdi Kanu release, they cannot operate.
Let's have your final thought on the issue of Bianca Ojukwu saying that, asking the president to release Nnamdi Kanu. Let's have your final thoughts.
Maybe that's why she was appointed. If she did not fulfill that promise, I don't know how she will come back to Anambra or Igbo land to talk again.
Who said that's why you were?
You mean as an Igbo lady, she will be there serving
was there. Nnamdi Kanu
hold on.
No, other Igbo people
have so many senators also who are there.
Have been a diplomat, an ambassador in Spain before now. So she must have some level of experience, diplomatic approach to issues. Now, she cannot tell me that after being there and being the wife of Ojukwu, after being there, with all her, exposure and everything, she could not influence.
Is she going to lose credibility if Nnamdi Kanu is not released in her tenure?
She will lose it too.
Okay.
She will lose it. She
But we
can't
have,
come out- she can't come out and
we
talk.
have national assemblies,
She
and
will not come out and
National
talk.
Assemblies, House of Representatives
Because her going there will
members.
be
These are
useless.
lawmakers in Nigeria that could not even talk about the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So why put
Please,
it on
leave
Bianca?
National Assembly. Do you have one? Do you have National Assembly?
Mr. Fanimo, let's get
Those
a
people
conclusion.
who are part of the executive,
Do you
they are
think
not,
that
they are not
release
my
of
National
Nnamdi
Assembly.
Kanu is
They are
going to
not.
douse tension in the southeast?
So what I want to say is that we shouldn't have this discordant tune in addressing this matter. I think we need to coalesce all shades of opinion and let it move towards the direction of releasing this young man. And then from that point, we will now know where the problem lies. Agitation would always be there for those who feel marginalized. And there are better ways of agitating rather than denigrating your people, rather than killing your people, rather than destroy the economy of your people. So if the way IPOB is evolving now, let IPOB lead this agitation and let them do it the proper way. And then we'll now know there's a way you expose a thief in the community that you may not even have to call that person a thief.
Exactly.
And he will know himself that he is a thief.
That's what we are saying here.
So whatever that woman is doing from diplomatic point of view, I know for her to come out now to make that statement, there must have been talks behind the scene. And I've always advocated that it is better to have talks behind the scene. I have used it personally in dealing with people, and I realize that once it is in the closet, people tend to listen to you more than when you come into the open. Because when you come into the open, it becomes a contest. So let whoever is genuinely interested in the release of Kanu, let that person do it with behind the scene without attracting too much attention. Because most of these politicians, they play to the gallery for their own political gains.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adele Fanimo. That's how far we can go on this leg of the conversation. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about NLC accuses MBS of fabricating figures about GDP growth and unemployment rate decline in Nigeria. Please stay with us, don't go away.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning. And moving over to the second topic of conversation, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has dismissed the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS report showing a drop in unemployment to 4.3% in Q2 of 2024, calling it a voodoo document meant to mislead the public. The NBS report highlighted increased workforce engagement, with self-employment accounting for 85.6% of jobs and informal employment rising to 93%. However, NLC's Assistant General Secretary Chris Onyeka accused the NBS of manipulating data, stating that unemployment cannot be declining when factories are shutting down and consumer spending is dropping. Onyeka further criticized the report as disconnected from reality, claiming it undermines the NBS credibility. We still have with us in the studio Barrister Darlington Agamo and Mr. Dele Fanimo. And the two of them will help us to make sense of this topic. Now, I would like to start over by asking you, Mr. Fanimo, this question. What do you really think is happening here? Is it that Nigerian government are kind of tired of Nigerians talking and, calling out how the government is not really doing well or doing enough for the people that will not lead to them bringing a conflicting result, given what Onyeka is saying? Also recall that NLPCL told Nigerians that for October 2024, that they had 1.8 million barrel production of crude oil. NUPRC come up to say, no, that was not what was produced. We have 1.5 million barrels per day. Now, where are we headed? Is it that the government wants to tell Nigerians what they want to hear, and then they resort to, bringing up conflicting reports?
You see, I've always said it that MBS is like a Babalawo or Dibia. They say things based on the revelation from the ancestors. And the world has moved away from such. MBS is not the only culprit. Have you ever wondered when Nimet will come with weather forecast?
Of course, yeah.
They will tell you it's going to be sunny from morning till night and a bit cloudy. And then it starts raining from morning till night. But because some of these things don't impact us in this part of the world, we just take it. Anybody in Europe or America or Asia, before you get out of your house in the morning, the first Bible you must read is the weather forecast. Because it could change in minutes. And you could be caught in the web of that weather change, and you may never return home. But here, if you say it's going to be sunny and it's rainy, all you need to do is just find a place convenient for you to avoid the rain. So that's why nobody cares about what happens.
The report that
misled you in the first instance. Now, MBS is just a way of showing you that data collection, data analysis is zero in Nigeria. Number one, if you are going to use the parameters of the Western world to come up with data and tell us the ups and downs of employment, unemployment, economy, whatever, you are going to be mistaken. And I'll tell you why. In the advanced countries, you hardly see a major part of the economy residing within the informal sector. But in Nigeria, the informal sector is bigger than the formal sector.
Yes.
So how do you capture somebody who buys and sells without going to the bank? How do you... There are some people that have millions of naira, billions of naira residing in their closet, in their home. How do you capture that?
I wonder.
So where is MBS getting this result from? If Manufacturer Association of Nigeria had come up a month ago to tell you that the goods they have produced are still in their warehouse, that is about 342% waiting for buyers that don't have the purchasing power to buy these items. What does that tell you? Over time, those companies will shut down.
Exactly.
Because most of the facilities they use are loans from banks and other financial institutions. And these loans don't come cheap. Today, the interest rate on loan is about 33%. Okay. And there are some other ones that are not mentioned that when you get to the bridge, you will begin to cross. 1%, 2%. NPR, what is it today?
25.50.
You know, 50. During Soludo's time as CBN governor, if it moves beyond 12.5, there is a crisis. Now it's more than double today. And then MBS is now coming up to tell me
Mr. Fanimo,
where is the company that is offering this employment?
Mr. Fanimo, MBS actually have been trailing. They've been following this projection to this particular time. Recall, for example, according to the report that they dropped, they said that 5.3% was what was recorded in Q1 of 2024. And it reflects a gradual recovery from 5.0% in Q3 of 2023. That shows they've been keeping tab of the unemployment rate, its reduction, and its increase. Now, are you now saying in all totality that we should take away or discard the projections that MBS is giving us? Recall that they told us that by June next year, Ojukwu, I love making a session to that word, June next year, 2025, 133 million Nigerians will move further into poverty, famine, and all that. Now, if you say you don't take what the NBS is saying on this script they just brought out, do you now still believe that 133 million Nigerians will go further into abject poverty?
Now, is there no contradiction in what you have just analyzed? Wait, let me tell you. All of us here seated, we are graduates. And you can't be a graduate without having a brush with research. Okay. Either quantitative or qualitative.
When you are doing your thesis.
You can't graduate without doing something that is related to research. And we all know the research tools. Either random sampling, observatory participation, and all and all. Now, what tool? Is it that they took sample to represent the whole by the MBS to agree and to come up with these statistics that this is the trajectory and there is an improvement? Just suppose this supposed improvement with reality on ground today in Nigeria. Okay. Where you know how many oil companies that have relocated in this country in the last 2 years? That are now even giving, do you know, even Guinness, if you don't know, Guinness today is no longer the Guinness of old. Good. They have removed their stake. And so many other companies that have even divest their investment in some of these companies, that they are now Nigerian company. Today, what obtains in Guinness is not what used to obtain, particularly for workers. Okay. Today, in Guinness, all those perks you enjoy when the Oyibo Guinness was there has been removed.
Yes, exactly.
What does that tell you? That means there is hemorrhage in Guinness.
All right.
That's just one part of it.
Yes, permit me to butt in at this moment. What FINA actually meant is this. You know, we are holding a conversation. Now, last year, NBS came out to say that we have 133 million Nigerians who are multidimensionally poor. NLC went to town with it. The economy is tanked. The economy has tanked. Everybody is complaining. Nigerians are very poor. How can 103 million Nigerians get into multidimensional poverty?
I should be more than that.
No, that is the
okay. The figure is normal. It's okay.
The figure is normal. You know, and 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 1 year down the line, the same MBS says, look, our economy has grown from 3.19% in quarter 2 to 3.46% in quarter 3.
Yeah.
Nigerians, you, Barrister Darlington, say no. NLC says no. People say no. MBS, they don't know how to collect data. They don't know how to.
Would you believe previously
when they say that 133 million people are multidimensionally poor? Why is it that? Is it some kind of selective rejection of a reality or what?
You see, one of the major reasons why Trump won the American election was that Kamala Harris was banding this kind of statistics that does not resonate fully
with the American people, yes.
But Trump came up to say people are dying as a result of the policy on health, and that is going to reverse, and that the purchasing power will be enhanced doing this and this and this.
Is that some kind of disinformation?
What I'm saying is that if statistics does not conform with reality, how do you reconcile that? But I mean, institutions, companies, and factories are closing and shutting down, and you are telling me there is more employment. Where is this employment? Who are the employers that are employing these people? When companies are downsizing.
So you don't think that
and technology has even taken so many jobs that you may not know because you are not affected.
When people are leaving, some others are coming in.
And beyond that, the informal sector that you also say that are not the informal sector that is not captured, you know, could also be doing more. A lot more people are working online and from home.
Yes.
And making money, remitting money with foreign companies online.
And that was why you give the statistics to say that 3.4 were male, while 5.1% of women were
actually employed. That's what we want to understand. At what point should we believe At what point should we not believe NBS? So, Barrister Darlington, please come into this conversation at this point.
Speculation in this type of...
No, it's not speculation.
Hold on, I'm coming. For you to say that unemployment have reduced, there must be facts to it.
And NBS has the facts.
They have their
No,
facts.
they don't. That's my quarrel here. That's my quarrel here. Let them put up advert for job offer somewhere and see what will happen.
Barrister Darlington, let me ask you. Barrister Darlington, if you have a Nigerian, a young graduate, fresh out of school, he goes to do one form of certification or the other, and he signs on to Microsoft or he signs on to one of these tech companies overseas, and he works from home. Is he employed or unemployed?
Please, how many of them are into that?
That is the point. That is what NBS is telling us.
No. You can't use that. Please, you can't. Because I remember when they wanted to ban this dubious figure, they said even the plumber, the electrician, who will come and work for you, maybe once in a week or so, you call him to come and fix something that is gainfully employed. Meanwhile, the same man will leave your house and be begging for food somewhere because whatever he got from you is not enough.
Even employed people are begging for food. Nobody can take that away. They were talking about unemployment rate and GDP. But they have facts. They have statistics.
No, that is not employment because I remember how they put it and I was laughing and said, no, this is not employment on its own. If you say there is employment, Mr. Okoro, in the Western world, there is a board that takes care of this thing. Even to all these menial jobs. That is why, no matter what you are doing in America or UK, you'll be captured in the tax net.
Exactly.
You'll be captured in the tax net. Here, these people that I mentioned, are they taxable? The money they are making, is it taxable?
So they are making money and they are employed?
No, hold on. Now, for you to say that, the people that UK that are working, can you tax them? Do you even know where they are working? Can you capture them?
But Barrister, are they employed or not employed?
Look, that is not employment.
Now, let's even define what is employment.
What is employment per se? What is employment?
No, you tell us.
You see people who are living from hand to mouth. The people who are living from hand to mouth.
Barrister Darlington, even civil servants who are being paid 30,000 naira, 35,000 wage awards, sometimes find it difficult also to survive, but they are employed. Even with the recent minimum wage that was increased to 70,000 also, people still come up to say that it is not enough. Now, are we looking at employment or are we looking at the purchasing power or are we looking at the strength of naira now? Is that what we're measuring up?
For you to say you are employed, listen very well. You have a job that you go to for every morning from Monday to Friday. And at the end of the month, that job will give you money. Take home pay.
Yes.
Something you do,
change all of that. Do you know that some people still work
from home?
Hold on, I am coming. Something you do once in a week or once in a month or once in 2 weeks. Please, that cannot be employment. It cannot be.
Barrister Darlington, we have a young man employed in an oil company. He goes onshore. Sorry, he goes offshore for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And comes back 2 weeks at home. Is he employed or unemployed?
That one, there is a document to show that he's employed.
Does the person work every day?
Does he work every day?
Hold on. There is a document that shows that he's working and he's going to get paid at the end of the month. But we are talking of here where your salary, your take-home pay is not consistent. In fact, it's not guaranteed. You just live by the day. You live from hand to mouth.
Even the Western world you just made mention of now, Barrister Darlington, they don't do the menial jobs every day. They do it when they come up. Now, the thing is, they don't do it every day. We have organizations in Nigeria also that have those people that do menial jobs that they also do the clocking and they work and they pay.
You are not getting it. Listen, what you are saying, that is why somebody can work in 3 or 4 places in a day over there.
Because they do wages.
Yes, there is this... what do you call it? Clocking. When you go, you clock in, you work. When the hour is due, you clock out and go. That is how they capture this thing. Do you have it here in Nigeria?
And over there is wage and not salary.
Exactly.
It's wage. That's what I'm saying. They do their wage.
So from that thing you have done now, your tax is already captured. You can't run away from it.
Yeah. Are you aware that there are laborers in Nigeria who are paid on daily basis? What they call day pay. Do you think that the MBS doesn't know?
Do they do it every day?
How do they capture those?
No, do they do it every day?
They don't work with MBS. No, that's what we are trying to find out.
That's what I'm saying. They can't capture those ones.
They did their research. Don't you think they did their research? They have their findings and they have the documentation.
Have you ever had contact with any of them?
Did they lobby every day?
I've never experienced it.
Do you work with them?
Okay,
So
look
why
at
would you
I've never had a contact with them.
So why would
And
you
I've
not come up
seen
to write your
anybody-
argument
Hold on.
out?
Look at it this way. Look at it this way. Now, the building industry is down because of high cost of building materials, cement and all of them. Please, the people that work in that sector, go to Yanabaja under bridge now. Go and see. They are there with their tools, waiting to be hired. Some will stay there from morning till now. Nobody will hire them, but they have left their home. Oh.
Okay, Barrister
They have left their home. Oh.
Barrister Darling, you have made a point. This is
Good.
what we are trying to establish. At what point should we believe NBS? And at what point should we not believe them? Now, NBS has said, look, in Q2 of 2024, the economy, the GDP was 3.19. GDP growth rate was 3.19. Now, between that Q2 and Q3, which is 4 months apart, it has moved from 3.19 to 3.46. MBS didn't say that the economy is growing at 8%, 9% or 12%. Don't you think that there is a small increase in the growth?
Hold on.
Sometime, I'm coming, sometime in Q2, the president also told us that, look, we had more non-oil export. Within that same Q2, the same president told us that, look, we have 30.05 FDI inflow into Nigeria. Good. So if you put all these things together, is there not a possibility that the GDP will grow from 3.19 to 3.46?
Let me puncture that data you just released now. Let us start one by one, because 2 days ago, or was it not yesterday, they told us that, what is it called now? NNPC made 12 point something trillion naira. Meanwhile, you know what is going on in that sector.
Is it MBS that said so?
No, I said that's the government. Now the government released it. Okay. That they are making progress. Then customs. You know that what's going on at the port, that no activity at all. That they too, they made the 5.5 trillion naira for this year. The year have not ended.
They even claim they have overshot their
good. That's what I'm telling you now. That even what's it called now?
FIRS.
FIRS. That those people they made 1 point something trillion above their projections.
And then, in the sector.
Then listen very well. Listen very well. They said that this increase you are talking about, that most of them came from the power sector. That was where I caught them. Mr. Okoro, that is where I caught them. And I said, come. Your power sector made progress. Are you serious? You are giving Nigerians 5,000 megawatts. That's what you are struggling with. Let us assume that it's 5,000 megawatts. At time when it collapsed, we got down to 0 or 1. Now, 5,000 megawatts of electricity, you are using it to serve 200 million people. Mr. Okoro, how can you make progress with that? How can you service these people with 5,000 megawatts of electricity? It can never be. If they have increased the megawatt to at least 10, 15 or 20, I'll say, okay, yes, you have captured many people into the net of servicing them. Now, many people are into the network of NEPA, that they can have light in a day. But this 5,000, it is few people who are in band A that you are extorting money from.
Are you disputing that figure? Don't you think it could be from overbilling?
We don't know what I'm saying here now.
Does that dispute the figure?
Hey, hold on. I'm coming. Please, Mr. Okoko, listen to me very well. Now, you are extorting money from me to go and show up your GDP. Is that progress?
What about the international body that will supply electricity too?
Which how much are they bringing? I said we have 5,000 megawatts. Listen very well. That particular figure, is it in dispute? The answer is no. So how can that figure make you, what do you call it now, a progressive nation when it comes to lightening up your city? 5,000 for 200 million people. There's no progress
South Africa with 68 million citizens. They have 90,000 megawatts.
What are you telling me? So with that alone, I told you that way I caught them. It cannot be. There cannot be progress from that end. They are extorting money from me. In fact, they are stealing from. Why do you call 419? You are extorting money from me for darkness, because you know that you have overpowered me. I don't have any other choice. I don't have any alternative. So whether I like it or not, I must pay the money. I said in my area, listen very well. I went to them, say, come, this prepaid meter you have phased out. Where is my own now? They say I should go and buy. I said, what? They say you should replace it. You are the one that phased it out. You should replace it. They say, Oga, you are waiting for nothing. That look, he showed me, say, somebody was giving a bill of 700,000 naira as NEPA bill. So how do you justify that? And they will now add it up, are part of the progress they have made, part of the revenue they have generated from you and me. Please, how can you see all this thing and you are still jumping up that you are making progress? You are stealing from people. You are making people to be poorer. And you are jumping up that you are making progress with your GDP.
Okay.
Is that progress? Please answer me.
Barrister Darlington, NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, remains Nigeria's data.
But look, they should look for something else. They can't tell me that. So I told you, I have punctured all the figures they brought up.
Okay.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't.
NBS remains the Nigerian state data.
But before you close this,
No, we are not closing. We are not closing.
We are not closing. You know, you are going to give us your final thoughts.
The MBS you are talking about is servicing.
There's something I want us to talk a bit about. You know, the president is on a 3-day visit to France. You know, with his wife, and they are going to be hosted by the French president and the first lady. You know, they are going to talk about bilateral relations, trade, agriculture, security, and all of that. Barrister Darlington, what's your take on that? Is it a good step in the right direction?
He just
came back from Brazil. He's been to China. Indian Prime Minister came here the other day.
By the way, how many times
we are trying to put a lot in the basket so that that we can go away from hunger.
You can see what we are saying. Tomorrow night they will tell you how many times he has traveled looking for investors, but they will not tell you how many investors came. How many times has he gone to France?
On this one, he was invited by Emmanuel Macron and Bridget.
That's what he told you. Did you hear when Emmanuel Macron said it?
Must Emmanuel Macron tell you, I'm inviting your president?
Oh, hold on.
He sent a letter to the vice president, to the president, and the president says, I'm going to France on the invitation of the French
To do what? Was he at
trade relations?
Hold on. How many times has he traveled to that place?
Barrister Darlington, you have a problem in your house. And your neighbor says, neighbor, please come over. Let's talk about the problem.
No. I've been talking.
I'm in a better position to help you.
It's a lie. Listen, this neighbor, I have been to his house several times on this same problem. Yet there's no...
Maybe he has a new idea.
No, there's no new idea. When they want to go and squander money abroad, when they want to catch cruise, they will tell you that...
Let's be very clear, circumspect.
Really?
Talk about squander. Do you have evidence that the president is squandering money?
Do you know that, listen, in a clan where they track their money, any president that goes...
So have you tracked one to know that he went to...
I am coming now. I'm coming.
So that will be more measured with the
an American president... Let me use America. An American president cannot travel outside America on this type of thing without coming home with something. When Donald Trump came in the first time he entered Saudi Arabia, he signed a deal, a military deal of $250 billion.
Barrister Darlington,
that was what he did.
President Tinubu went to China. He came back with 5 MOUs. One on nuclear, on agriculture, on media exchange and all of that. He just came back from Brazil and he signed a deal. $2 billion worth of business.
There was another deal.
You know, well, please, let me ask you a question. Please, let me ask you a question. All these MOU you have signed, which of them have seen the light of day? That's my question here.
These things take time to mature.
Start with one. At least you have made a deal with China. Why not conclude that one first? And let us have light. Mr. Okoro, let us have light.
The more the merrier.
Hold on. You cannot tell me that you don't have light. You are inviting me into your dark room. What am I coming to do here? Do you know that industry goes with light? Where there is power, you will see industry. Industrialization come with power. Do you have it?
Minister of Power says this coast should recapitalize to 500
billion. They should. They should. Have they done that? Before they started...
But is that on the way to improve power?
You should have done it now. And before you started extorting money from people.
Barrister Darlington, there's also a projection that by the end of the year, we'll start generating 12,000 megawatts of electricity.
You haven't seen these people, though. Please, is it the first time you are hearing this?
This is coming from the Minister of Power.
Is it the first time you are hearing this?
Are you not saying that?
Will you not tell us here that before you leave office, you pull over 100 million people out of poverty? What happened at the end of the day? Did he not reverse it? I don't know why people keep taking their word for the truth.
They are people.
Make sure anything they have told you that you can say yes. This is the. Are you not, Mr. Okoro? Are you hearing today that even the jet the Tinubu bought, there was no approval? He just went on his own and bought that jet on his own. Mr. Okoro, is that how to run an economy for somebody who came for reform? Is that not a fact that Tinubu bought that plane without anybody's approval? That's how they are messing up with our money.
All
and
right.
when I said that they went to squander money, you say, do I have any evidence?
All right, thank
no,
you.
this one is not a good. It's not a good evidence.
Thank you, Barrister Darlington.
No, is this one not a good evidence?
The president is on his way to France today.
He will go there again after today. He will go. He will still go again.
Agreements on agriculture, health.
Let him sit down at home.
With the French president. What's your take on that, please?
I think at the level of the presidency, the visit, if it's on the behest of the French president, it's honorable for him to honor such. And in the course of his state visit there could be some exposure to investors that are willing, and he needs to convince them on why and how they can invest in Nigeria. And but my problem with all this is the same France that we are cutting is the same France that is being denigrated by those they colonized. Yeah. They are being resisted. This is, I'm just looking at the sincerity of this Western world.
They are looking for another
against Nigeria.
They are looking for another
other African countries that are rich in mineral resources. Now, today, the main reason why there was a coup in Niger and some other Francophone countries is the fact that as at the time they were handing them qualified independence, there were clauses and treaties that made them perpetual slave for the rest of the existence of this earth. And they want to untie that bond. And they know that consistently they plant those people that are pliant and are ready to do their bidding.
Exactly.
And that's why they are topping democratically elected presidents to bring in sanity and to untie their umbilical cord from France. Exactly. Is it that same France that is going to be genuinely
help you,
be sympathetic to our problem and want to help us out? Some of these countries remove the feeding bottle that feeds them from Africa. Nigeria had television before France.
Okay, apparently you don't want us to get into that hole.
I don't see any sincerity in whatever is coming out from this.
All right, can we have a final thoughts on the issues we talked about today? Ojukwu, Bianca Ojukwu's session that the president should release Nnamdi Kanu and MBS altercation with NLC and all of that.
Yes, what we are saying.
Mr. Fanimo.
One, on Nnamdi Kanu.
Quick one.
Allow people that are genuinely interested in making sure this man is released to do the underground job and lower the voice of media posturing and all that, and let's get out of this quagmire.
Okay.
All right.
On MBS, it is abracadabra, because there is no correlation between reality on ground and the progression that MBS is giving us.
All right.
Then finally, our visit to France, our president must be circumspect in whatever deals is signing. And we have seen in this country in the past that state governors will go and sign something without looking at the clause properly.
Okay.
Today, they are hunting our property all over the world.
All right, thank you.
Because of the mistake of one person.
Yes, thank you very much.
Who is not even the president.
All right. Barrister Darlington, can we have your concluding thoughts?
Yes. They say in Yoruba land, Onoko Waja. So, if
you have to interpret that.
Yeah, that is many roads. One road does not lead to the market. So if everybody is saying Nnamdi Kanu, and they are genuinely interested in release, let them go ahead. After all, Bianca Ojukwu, I remember when she was being cleared by the National Assembly, by the Senate, all those men there, they were ogling at her because of her beauty. If they can look at the king and the king say, oh, why can't a beautiful woman make a request for me and I would feel like Esther in the Bible? Why not? So she can leverage on that. If she can influence opinion, no problem. What we are saying, let Nnamdi release so that there will be peace in the southeast.
Right.
Then two, this figure, the chairman of Nasima, that lawyer, he broke it down the other day in the media. This if somebody who is the head of Nasima, National Association of
Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Mines and Power and Agriculture.
So if somebody of that height is telling you that what came out from MBS is false,
right.
So what are you now saying?
Okay.
On the visit to France, Mr. Okoro, too many cooks spoil the broth. We have visited France enough.
Thank you very much.
Let them visit us. Let them visit us. We have visited
Thank
enough.
you very much, Barrister Darlington. And that's how much we can go on this conversation. That's how much we can take. That's how far we can go. We've been speaking with Barrister Darlington Agommo, a lawyer and political analyst, and Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter and also a political analyst. Both of them are VOP in-house analysts. Gentlemen, thanks for being on the show.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you.
Good morning once again.
On behalf of the backroom staff, people that, I mean, the hands behind the faces that you see, we say thank you very much. And on behalf of my colleague here, Fina Ojukwu, we say have a very wonderful day. I am Chukwuma Okoro, and thanks for being part of this show.